All right, I just have to start off this video by saying, you guys are awesome. Fitting, since our guest today is Awesome Kong, but we just hit 100,000 subscribers on the CVV Clips channel. We started the year with 25,000 subscribers, and I had this crazy goal to try to double that and hit 50,000 by the end of the year, but you guys had different plans. In 5 months, we hit 100,000 subscribers. So if you're subscribed here, it would be so awesome if you could also join us on the CVV Clips channel for the most interesting and memorable moments from interviews just like this one. So I will thank you in advance for subscribing, and let me just put this down here. Just got in from the gym, hence the attire here. And my meals from Factor just arrived. So I love to eat, and I try to eat as healthy as possible, but I do not like to cook. And the great thing about Factor is it takes all the guesswork out of meal prep. They give you your meals delivered fresh, not frozen by the way, and they're ready to go in just 2 minutes. Factor supports wholesome eating made so simple. They've got a rotating menu of 25 plus meal options, so you can either choose your favorite meals or you can let Factor craft your order based on your taste preferences or your meal history. So instead of showing you this empty box here, let's go inside and show you what's for lunch. Oh my gosh, right off the bat here. Peanut Buddha bowl, unbelievable. Tostada bake, shredded chicken taco bowl. It's gonna be a good week of eating right here. Balsamic glazed chicken, roasted garlic braised beef, pork tenderloin with cheesy cabbage. Man, now comes the hard part. Which one are we gonna eat? I think we'll go with roasted garlic braised beef. So let me show you what this looks like. Take the sleeve off here. That's how it arrives, fresh, never frozen. So you pierce the clear plastic film here. Boom, boom, pierced. Throw her in the microwave, 2 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Let me take you inside here, show you what we got here. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. You ready? Oh my gosh. That looks incredible. How rude would it be for me to eat this while I talk to you guys? Oh, it's so good. I just love how they have so many options so that I can stick to my goals, eat delicious food that's still so healthy for you. I don't have to think about it. They just arrive at my door every single week. And I also pack these meals and take them on the road with me. So like you've seen the interviews that we've been doing at the beautiful, unbelievable, incredible Blue Wire Studios at the Wynn Las Vegas. I pack 4 of these meals, throw them in a cooler, and I fly with them so that when I get there, I've got delicious, healthy meals when I'm there. So hey, wanna get $120 off? Yeah, you do. Just head to go.factor75.com/CVV120 and use the code CVV120 to get $120 off. There's no more preparation. There's no more guessing whether it's healthy or it's not. It's amazing, healthy food delivered to your door each week. Head to go.factor75.com/CVV120 and use that code CVV120. Now you'll have to excuse me while I finish this meal, but enjoy this awesome conversation with the one and only Awesome Kong. Well, here we go. We're doing it for real now.
Let's go.
Yeah. You're one of the rare people who live in LA who's actually from LA. Because I moved here 2 years ago and nobody's like from here. Nobody.
Born in Southern California, born in San Diego, and moved to LA when I was 6.
So what do we call you? An Angelino? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, Los Angelinos.
Los Angelino. I think a lot of people don't even, can't put that together. Like
or just Angelinos,
Yeah.
And we're really loose and fluid about it. We don't get touchy. Like, if you go to San Francisco and you're like, well, I'm in Frisco, people there are like, ah.
Yeah.
You can't say that.
Yeah. Or like if you're in Atlanta,
we're cool.
If you're in Atlanta and you call it Hot Atlanta, they're like, you are clearly not from
right.
here.
You will get red. Okay. So LA, we're very chill unless it rains, and then we lose our fucking mind.
Yeah. The one day a year that it rains, it's like snow everywhere else.
Right. Have you experienced it?
I did.
Californians will lose their mind and act like they have no idea what to do. And it's like a light drizzle, and they're like, I can't go to work, I can't drive, my kids can't go to school, there's water falling from the sky. And it's like, okay, people, calm
I
down.
think the funniest part about it is it's the top story on the news. Like, this just in, it is raining. It's like,
Seriously, do you
yes, it's
remember
raining.
that day where like all of LA watched that dog getting rescued from the wash? Did you see that?
Yes.
It was near the studios, and a dog was like in the wash river basin thing, and all of LA was like, "Oh my God, rain can do that?" That's why rain is dangerous.
Yeah, that's it. That's You're like the most different person in real life compared to your character, like more so than I think anybody else in wrestling.
Oh, really? You think
Oh,
so?
yeah.
Well, wait, I know that. Yeah, I'm not as like sick and demented as Kong. I'm very extremely silly, and because I'm from Southern California and I grew up here, and because of the school system I went to, I speak like a Southern Californian, not exactly Valley, but with from Southern Californians, everything we talk, everything we say sounds like a question.
Right.
So you can't have like a big strong monster and be like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And it doesn't work. So we just made Kong mute and just like scary, because I'm gonna scratch you everywhere doesn't really work with
Yeah, it's like you're
with
saying
the image.
you're scary until you start talking.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get such an awesome name? Did you have any part in that name?
No. Zero. None. My first wrestling name, drum roll please,
Okay.
was Vixen.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Seems a little cliche.
Oh my gosh. Your first wrestling persona are all the things you built up in your mind and stole from your favorite wrestling characters, and remember at that time Trish Stratus was like the chick, 20 years ago, and I had just got off of a reality show that was like a weight loss show, so I had this, this figure going on, so I had to get my black spandex on, honey, and my boots, my hooker boots, and my hair down in there with my face beat, baby, and come out swinging. My booty is 100% USDA grade beef. This is all natural, honey, no fillers. And I had to go out there and show it. All right. And that's because that's what you do with your first. Every wrestler will tell you their first one never really works out, but it's all that self-indulgence that you just have to like get out and work through before you naturally get to the persona or the character that's a right fit for you.
Right. Well, with that said, if you wanted to be like that, everything you described, Awesome Kong feels like the furthest thing from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to realize that we live in a world where women who look like me automatically have this pre ideal, image that a lot of promoters, tend to cling to, because they're like, that's where the money is, that's what's going to sell tickets. You're big, you're black, you're scary, go work it, instead of conforming to a new idea that is truly closer to who I am and what would have actually made me more happy. Even though I love Kong, no shade on Kong, Kong has taken care of me and my family for 20 years. So no shade on Kong, but Kong is a construct that was built by other people that, were basically in charge of where I worked and what kind of money I made. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So if it were my choice, I think that the trend that Kim Kardashian, Megan Thee Stallion, and all of them have been exploiting with the big booty, small waist, big, tatas, with the hair down to bam, probably, would have kicked off 20 years ago. But I really couldn't find any promoter that was willing to take that leap with me, where big was beautiful and accepted and not a gimmick and something to be laughed at, and you know what I mean, not a joke, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because where I'm from, my neighborhood, I walk down the street, baby, you can't even talk to me. In high school, I was that bitch, okay? We're talking about cheerleader. Kong was the homecoming queen, baby.
You were the homecoming queen?
I was the homecoming queen. Carson High School in 1995. Get the yearbook, look it up. I was that bitch. I was the bitch that niggas woke up to see every day. I gotta wake up and get dressed for Kia. She gonna be at school today. I was that bitch.
Wow. So when they present you with Awesome Kong, are you like, wait a second, that's not how I envision myself at all?
Oh, I mean, like, I don't know if you heard the story about when I first heard my name.
Which was Amazing Kong, right?
It was Amazing Kong.
Yeah.
But have you ever heard the story?
No, bring it.
Okay. So I'm training at New Japan Dojo,
Okay.
Santa Monica. And they're training me to get ready for my first show out in Japan. And Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, this is when he's brand new, was there on a rotation, because they would rotate some of their new, that's when he was a new boy. They would rotate some of the new boys in and out of the US. And I walk in and he points at me and he's like, Amazing Kong. And I was like, what the fuck did you? Wait a minute, is that what's going on in Japan, where y'all just point at black people and call them Kong, baby? You can't do that here. You in the US of A now. I gotta teach you some, come over to this corner, let me teach you some manners. And so once we got the miscommunication or misunderstanding through, he showed me the magazine where there was a press conference where they had announced that Amazing Kong was gonna come in and be the main event for that show coming up.
Right.
And I was like, oh, so they named me, didn't tell me, didn't run it by me, didn't ask me how you feel about that. Do you feel like, you know, you'll be exploiting, you know, your people playing basically a minstrel character or whatever? But I don't think the Japanese promoters actually understood the context or the potential problems that name could denote, you know what I mean? Because, you know, Aja was Aja Kong, and that, you know, successful, well-respected female, you know, top dog wrestler who wouldn't want to be a Kong. She was goddess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not something that I knew at the time. I just knew Kong, ape, building, loving on a white woman. I got, you know, this is a lot of nuances I got to figure out. Yeah. So, but you know, I told them I had to think about it, and I was in my little apartment in Hollywood, off of Wilcox in Hollywood. You know that area, right?
I do, yeah.
I had a little apartment, and a song, NWA song came on, and it might have been "Fuck the Police," I can't remember, but I was like, you know what? If NWA can be NWA, then I can be Kong. What that's gonna mean is that I'm gonna have to own it, and I'm gonna have to turn this into something that people respect. So if that someone hears the name Amazing Kong, then they're gonna sit up straighter or stand up and salute me, bitch, because they have that much respect. And so I'm like, well, okay, I'm gonna take it on and make sure I move the marker a little further for those who come after me. Yeah. So they can have a choice, you know, whether to put up with it or be like boo bye. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't usually talk like boo bye and XY. Really, this is not really my dialect, but I was just binging a show on HBO Max called Legendary. And it's about like, I don't know if you know pose, but it's like, you know, the houses where they pose and they have teams and stuff. And they like, and I just binged that for 2 days. So this is going to be, so I mean, it's so not me. My best friend.
This is great. Like, this is so great so far.
I don't know her. What is this with Kia? That's like, you know. It'll be gone in a week or two, or whatever. Or when I find out who win the grand trophy, I'll,
Okay. We'll do another one then. Yeah. When growing up in Hollywood, like being surrounded by that, were you like, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a famous movie star?
Well, the thing is that my mother, the reason we moved to LA is because my mother was in entertainment. She was an actress. And from an actress, she moved on to be a producer and a contestant coordinator for what's called game shows and whatnot.
For Family Feud, right?
Yes, for Family Feud and for Classic Concentration. That's correct. Mark Goodson Productions. Yes.
You know how cool that job is to pick the contestants?
Oh, it's so cool. Just the whole process and the family and the crew. And my mom, when she started off as a contestant. Hello.
Wow.
On the show Classic Concentration, which with the Alex Trebek was hosting that, and they loved her so much because I'm a copy of the original, honey. You love me. You had to have met my mom because she was something. And what had happened was she got to the main round and she had figured out there was a system, a code, because you would have to match up these numbers, and when you matched up the numbers, there was a car behind it. And if you got to the last match, whatever car was behind it, that's the car you won. Well, she had watched the show every day and was like, there is a system. They got, there's a code. 2 and 6 goes together, 3 and 9, 2 and 14, and X, Y, and Z. So when she got to the main, to the last round and hit all the codes, they freaked out and they had to have meetings like, I think she's cheating and whatever. And then she told them how she figured it out. And because they had to deal with her for an extended period of time, they got to know her and they invited her to be an intern. So she would come home with all the, we surveyed 100 people and blah, blah, blah. And my brother and I would have to do the, tally it up and stuff. And it was really
so
fun.
Those are actual surveys on the Family Feud?
Actual
I mean, Steve Harvey, who's hosting it now, says it all the time. Like, we surveyed 100 people.
Back then, they did it. They would go to malls and stuff and survey people. And my mom would come home with all the papers, and we'd sit around the dining room and help her tally up the the surveys. Now I believe it's electronic and very easy. But back then it was very analog.
Yeah.
Paper, but it was a blast. Ray Combs, that was when Ray Combs was the host for the most part, and he was a very, very lovely man. And Louis Anderson, and then who was it that co-starred on Home Improvement? He was there for a while, sweetest man you'd ever know. But they love him.
I always call him Al Borland.
Yes.
Richard Kearns.
And
Richard Kearns.
What's that?
Richard Kearns.
Richard Kearns, sweetest man you would ever know, as well as Alex Trebek, may he rest in peace, who never forgot my name. Anytime I came to the set, Alex Trebek would be like, "Hi, Kia," not Keisha, not love whatever. He always knew my name. He was always very polite, and he would always ask me very interesting questions.
When you were growing up, Kias weren't a car yet, were they?
No, they were not a car yet.
Do you remember seeing your first Kia?
I've owned a couple of Kias.
Are you serious?
You can't help it. They're cheap, unlike myself, but they're cheap. So if your name is Kia, you can go grab you a Kia real quick and roll in it. It's fun. Come on, wouldn't you? If you had a little car, a little cheap car, you can go get. And it's your name, and you and Kia, you and your buddy.
Well, if my name was Toyota, I'd probably drive a Toyota. Yes, I'm totally with you here.
And I think Manami Toyota, who's a wrestler in Japan, I think she owned a Toyota too. So
it makes sense.
It's not weird.
So growing up, being around this, were you like, I definitely want to be part of this world?
No. I was the shyest little girl you would ever meet.
That is so hard to believe. Wow. It's really hard to believe that you'd be shy. Like, especially with everything we're seeing now.
Oh, well, you have to understand. Let me turn this fan off. You have to understand that my mom was an extremely outgoing, and boisterous person. You know, if you met her once, you never forgot her, and she had this booming voice. And not to mention, I mean, you know, she would never like hit a woman, but she would slap the shit out of a bitch. I mean, like, you know. So when you see someone who's like that, who's like the life of the party, but quick to like snatch a bitch out her car through the window, okay? Mind you, like I said, I grew up in San Diego, first 6 years of my life, a lot of racism down there, okay? So she was quick to be like, okay, I could be that N-word for you right now. Let me show you what one really looked like. So like that would, seeing that would, you know, it's scary to be in those situations a lot, you know? Yeah. It's scary to be at a birthday party for, you know, because we lived in a neighborhood where we were the only Black family, you know. We lived in a fairly affluent neighborhood where we're the only Black kids around. So if we got invited to a birthday party and like at Chuck E. Cheese, and there was like an after party at, you know, the house, well, the Black kids had to go home, and they weren't scared to talk about how the Black kids had to go home and couldn't go in the house. So, you know, hearing those kinds of conversations and being accosted by, you know, random people over a subject I didn't quite really understand, couldn't grasp quite yet, but quicker than I should, kind of made me into an introvert. You know what I mean? It was better to be quiet and watch and see who is safe to interact with versus just putting myself out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, and that shyness led to you know, fear of a lot of things. So when my mom would want to send me to auditions and stuff, I mean, you talking about anxiety? I mean, if they had like, you know, kitty, you know, what's something for anxiety? What do people
like
take?
Valium or something?
Yeah, if they had kitty Valium back then, I would have popped them like a Pez. Okay, I would have had a Pez dispenser, a strawberry shortcake Pez dispenser, like Xanax from.
So when did you come out of your shell then?
I came out of my shell. It was a slow transition from junior high school to high school. What happened was we moved to Los Angeles, and when we moved to Los Angeles, my mother, you know, she uprooted us from an all-white neighborhood, so planted us into an all-Black neighborhood, which had its own, gave me a different kind of cultural shock. You know what I mean? Because now I got it from both sides. You know, hey, you little pickaninny, get away from me, to, ooh, why you talk white? And, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I didn't know where I fit. So it was best to just be quiet and observe to see who was safe to talk to. However, I basically, long story short, I was bought. Let me tell you why. Around the junior high school, my mom put me in inner city drill team, mainly for her to like converse with like the moms and stuff and be social, because I was scared to death. But to also bring me out of my shell. I didn't like it. We would practice every Saturday morning at the YMCA in Inglewood. Every Saturday morning, I would find a reason to like hide under my bed or, you know, clean. Like, you know, the garage needs cleaning. We can't, what kid is like, you know, rather clean and go out and play? But that, it really gave me anxiety to have to interact with all those Black girls who I couldn't really identify with yet. So I was just a little outcast that just would rather just stay home. And I knew I didn't have to go to drill team if a certain cartoon, if I got past a certain cartoon, I knew that, oh, we're not going, and that'd be the best. But if she told me to grab my shoes before, I can't remember what it was, whatever cartoon it was, and I was like, oh, we're going there. However, by force, that opened up my shell just a wee bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. That's
junior high school. Now, high school, this is where the buying, this is where I got bought.
Okay.
Comes in. When junior high school was over, I went out for color guard, which is the tall flags. Okay. Nice little activity, not too showy, safe. Right during my junior year, they were having cheer tryouts for, which would have been my senior year. And I come home one day laughing because I hated cheerleaders. I thought they were so pretentious or whatever and elitist. And I come home laughing my head off and telling my mom how there's 200 of my friends at a cheer clinic because they want to try out to be a cheerleader. And I'm just like, stupid, shallow. And my mom's like, why don't you try out? And I'm like, no, I'm color to I thought. And she's like, if you try out to be a cheerleader, because she wanted a cheerleader daughter, honey. If you try out to be a cheerleader, I'll buy you that BMW you were looking at.
Oh.
So.
Wow. So this is how you got bought.
This is how Kia Stevens got bought, y'all. Kia Stevens one day was riding down La Cienega with her mother, and she saw the prettiest BMW ever. It looked just like the BMW Kelly had in 90210. Do you remember Kelly's BMW in 90210?
Yeah.
It looked just like that, except for Kelly had a red one, or a yellow one. She had a red one, and I wanted a red one, but this one was black. But it was okay. It was okay. We can make that work. And every time we would pass it, I'd give the mom, and she was like, don't even bother. That's pipe dreams,
Yeah.
But when I came home with they having cheerleader tryouts, I mean, everything changed. This was her chance to live vicariously through me and have her cheerleader daughter. Because remember, she grew up in an era where she wasn't allowed to even try out for cheerleading. She grew up in Southern Illinois. They weren't going to have any Black cheerleaders. No, don't even think about trying out. So this was something, this meant something to her. And the BMW meant something to me. So.
And this was just to try out. You didn't have to make the team.
Well, no, I would have to make the team to get the
So if
BMW.
you made the team, you'd get a BMW.
Oh, no, it gets better, honey.
Okay.
This is a good story. So, all right. Well, remember, the clinic had already been going on for about a week. It was a 2-week clinic, okay? And there's 200 girls trying out. Well, I hadn't been there for the first week, okay? So one of my friends was on the squad, Ebony. So I asked Ebony, hey, can you teach me the cheers that, need to be done in the tryout? And she taught them to me in an afternoon, which is why drill team came in handy, because I could pick up choreography very fast. So she taught me the cheers, and I went, and on cheer day, on the tryout day, I went and tried out, even though I had lost my voice, because my mom had practiced me like she was Joe Jackson. She's like, do it again. And I was, and so the morning of, I had lost my voice, and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And my mother, I've never seen her cater to me so much. It was so awesome. I mean, this woman came in with the honey and the lemon and the tea, and my mama massaging my throat. I mean, she wanted that cheerleader daughter, honey. And I went later, and in my She massaged my muscles and my muscles had eased up. She put me in the bath with Epsom salt. At that time, I didn't even know what Epsom salt was. I later learned, but you know, you're gonna do it. And I get there, I go down, and then back then I could tumble. I could do flips and stuff back then. So I go in, I do the tryout, and I mean I slay it. I slay it, bitch. Nobody can touch me. Slayed it. The girl who came out of nowhere. This girl wasn't even at the clinic. Where'd she come from? And a week later, what they would do is when you're in homeroom, they get on the intercom and they would announce what girl made the team. And then you would run down and they'd have balloons for you and it'd be like a big, big thing.
Yeah.
And on the day, they announced my name. And it was a big thing on my balloons. And that's when the haters, honey. That's when the haters, who are my friends, 200 of my friends, got so upset because there was only 2 spots. There were 2 spots, 200 girls going out for 2 spots. And Kia got one of them. And Kia didn't go to the clinic, and that was one of the requirements. And did you know that Kia has an F on her report card? How do you know I got an F on my report card? Because one of my friends, who's supposed to be my friend, I had an F on my report card, sold me out. Still, Kia was so bad in her tryout, didn't matter. The coach was like, we'll work it off. She'll raise it up. I want her. She could toss a bitch in the air. She could catch her on her shoulder. I'll take a flip. I want her. And that's when I learned to advocate for myself because this situation was so tense. And if anybody from the Carson High 1994 Spirit Squad remembers this, yes, I remember this too. This situation was so tense and so awful. Those 200 girls got together to petition for my removal from the team. Then we had to get together with the student council and plead our cases. I had to plead my case in front of the student council. So that moment, having to plead my case, because I had earned that, you know what I mean? That is when I burst out of my shell.
Wow.
And learned that, because before I never could advocate for myself.
Yeah.
Like if you mess with my friends, I would, I stand up for my friends, but I never learned to advocate for myself. But when you got 200 girls hating on you, you know what I mean? For something that you feel proud of yourself. It was one of the first times I actually felt really proud of myself. You know what I mean? Because I busted my butt and did it. When you got them hating on you, it does something to you. And that moment changed me. Having to publicly speak to the student council and plead my case when I had never spoken in public before. Every time my mom took me to an audition, I was like the frog from the WB. Like beforehand, we would do all the, say all the lines and it'd be nice. And, so cookies is #1. And then I would get in the audition room and it was like, ribbit. And they were like, thank you for coming out. And I'd leave and be like, I messed it up. That was the first time that I garnered the courage to stand up for myself and advocate for myself because I felt worth it and take on 200 bitches that was hating on me, where half of them were my good friends, my good friends, okay, who I would do anything for, except for give up the cheer spot. So it got so tense that the school had to make a new squad. They called them the Spirit Squad. And the Spirit Squad, they gave them some uniforms, and during games, they stayed in the stand. They stood in the stands next to the band, and would be like rah rah rah, all because Kia made the team with her F. But
it feels like to me, if this didn't happen, you wouldn't be the person that you are. Maybe you wouldn't have come out of your shell and even wanted to be a wrestler.
Nope, I would not have. I was very, very, very comfortable with just being in the background, in the shadow. But once I advocated for myself, honey, that's when I said, okay, now y'all want to hate on me? Now y'all gonna have to bow down to me, because guess what? I'm going for homecoming queen. Bow, bitches, bow. Oh, you want to hate on me? Well, guess what? I'm about to put on a production of an all-woman cast of The Odd Couple, and you're gonna come out and pay your money to see me, haters. Okay? And from then on, honey, there was nothing you could say to Kia to make her that person.
Wow. I mean, there's always those moments in everybody's life that changes their life forever. I love that you can like pinpoint it down to this very specific moment. So then from there, I mean, we're fast forwarding a bit, but did wrestling find you or did you find wrestling? So from there, and I guess we're fast forwarding a bit, but from there, do you find wrestling or does wrestling find you?
A little bit of both. Yes, fast forward. I'm a social worker at a facility called St. Anne's in Los Angeles for pregnant and parenting teenagers.
Wow.
And, teenagers already are volatile, but you add in some pregnancy hormones,
Sure.
It's a battle royale every other night, And so we would watch wrestling in the rec room, and even though they say don't do this at home, we would emulate, not to the point of contact, but we'd cut promos in the hall, and if I was busy and my favorite character, my favorite worker was on the TV, the girls would call me and I'd run to watch what they were doing. And it was a very fun bonding activity for the girls. For some reason, watching people be violent actually calmed them down. Ironic. So Tough Enough, MTV Tough Enough came out, and the second season, and my brother-in-law wanted to try out for it. And this is in the early days of the internet, and he didn't know how to download an application. What download is that? So because of where I worked and because I was familiar with computers and had my own office, he asked me to download the application. I said, sure. And I downloaded, printed out his application, and I was like, I'm gonna print one out for myself. And so I did, read it, filled it out, sent in the tape they wanted, and they called me for an audition in Las Vegas. So I go out there and wait in the line. It was like 18 hours or so. It was 2 days, but total waiting in the line was like 18 hours. We had to wait in this line.
Yeah.
And I was right behind Kenny, Kenny King.
Wow.
Before Kenny King was Kenny King.
Yeah.
He was right in front of me, and we kind of bonded over that day. So when his name got called to be on the show, I was so happy. I was like, I gave him my luck. He won, he got picked because of me, because I'm so generous to give my aura and my winningness.
So this is season 2, the season John Morrison and Matt win, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think, is it Leslie? Big girl, big tall black girl. So Leslie?
No,
I think her name is Leslie.
My Tough Enough history is not great.
Well, she went on to get a contract. Remember, she used to have a black leather, and she used to have 2 dudes that were in like chains, and she'd whip them and stuff. And it was like a dominatrix type. Okay, Google it.
So that was your first introduction to it. Was like
that was my first introduction.
You had never taken a bump before.
I didn't even know what a bump was. They call, they get us all the contestants together, or potential contestants together in a room, and they have this ring in there, and they talk about the ring that's going to be set up that we're going to be in, and they start using this lingo. This is a no bump ring, so don't take any bumps. And and they're saying this. What's a bump? You know what I mean? Is somebody gonna come out and do like coke in the ring? I don't understand. Like,
Right.
I'm from Hollywood. Bump means something different out here, sweetie. I'm like, and luckily, Kenny was in front of me and let me know what that meant. And Shelly Martinez was there.
Oh, okay.
And I happened to come across her because she had a chain that said Vixen on it. And so I approached her about it and struck up a conversation. And she actually wasn't that nice to me in that meeting. And I almost jacked her for her Vixen necklace. And I'm glad I didn't, because later I ended up going to the school that
Oh, that's right. Yeah. By the way, I looked this up. You're right. Linda Miles and Jackie Gaeta won season 2.
Jackie Gaeta.
And I was going to season 3, which was John and Matt.
Okay. There you go. Yes,
So,
Jackie, tall girl. Nice. Very nice girl.
So you go there to the audition and you're probably thinking, man, I can crush this. This is for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they told us to, at the beginning, initially, before we got out there, they said we had to, come up with a promo. I didn't know what a promo was, but I learned. And then we were going to do some physical stuff in the ring. And then when we got there, they told us the physical stuff. And it was, they told us we were going to have to do a kip up, which I had to learn what that was. And so, like I said, this was an 18-hour process as far as the time we actually stood in the lines.
Yeah.
But it was over 2 days. So me, Kenny, a guy who kind of looked like a ripoff of The Rock, a girl who was former friends with Stacy Keibler but had fallen out and I guess was there to try to get a job so it'd be frosty. But I don't know. She had some drama with Stacy Keibler. I don't know. Yeah, my mom had went with me and she had got all the tea from her. And we're in my hotel room because I made a trip of it. We stayed at the Caesar's Palace and I had a big suite. So we went up to my suite and we were all trying to learn how to do the kip up. And like I said, I was very athletic at the time, I could tumble, and I was very fit at the time, even though I was still a big girl. And I learned how to do it. I did it more than a few times. I'm like, okay, I got it. It's hard on the abs, but all right, I have it. However, when we got in the ring, when it was time for you to audition,
yeah,
they have you do the physical stuff first. I mean, they had us rolling around for 30 seconds. And then we had to do some jumping jacks and then blah, blah, blah. And we had to do the kip up last. So you're blown up.
Sure.
For those who don't know what blown up means, it means you're out of air and you can't catch your breath. So you're blown up and then you have to do this very difficult move. And so by the time I had to do the kip up, I didn't impress anybody. It was like a wet fish out of water. And then we had to do the promo. I was proud of my promo because, I grew up in acting and I was out of my shell.
Yeah.
To be and not to be. And so I can't remember the whole promo, but I remember the last line was, because hell has no fury like a woman scorned. And I had went to the magic shop and got this book that had flame paper in it. And it was reading from my ode of hell has no fury like a woman scorned. And the fire came out the book. I closed it because I had read them, bitch. Okay. Library was closed. And I was proud of myself. And then it was crickets.
No way.
And all of the judges were we don't know what to do with this. And JR was okay, thank you, goodbye. And I was what? He was thank you, go. I was oh, wait, no, I'm not going anywhere. I just drove my raggedy ass Kia from LA through the mountains of Las Vegas to get here and spend my last check on a suite. I didn't put it all in because I knew I was about to be a millionaire. I'm not going anywhere till you ask me one or two questions. And I can't remember the first question JR asked me, but it was a snarky one. But then Bob Holly was there, bless his heart, and was like, no, I want to actually, I find her interesting and I want to ask her some questions. And then, so that engaged the rest of the judges, and we got to rapping and got to talking. And then JR, bless his heart at the time, because, you know, he was in a certain kind of thinking that make it hard out there for a pimp like me. He was like, I'm sorry, but I don't think a girl your size can ever make it in wrestling. You're too big to ever make it in wrestling. You would never make it.
Wow.
And I was like, what? And he was like, you would never make it in WWE. You're too big. He was gracious enough not to use the word fat, but I didn't think I was fat. I thought I was thick, honey, and I was. I'm fat now. But back then, honey, I was just thick. I had the build of like Megan Thee Stallion, I would say. Well, she has the build of me back then.
There it is.
You know, and thick and loving my body. And I was like a god. And, but that was, ooh, if that man hadn't said that to me, because that was the fire. Remember, 200 bitches hated on me in high school, and I was like, my clap back is you gonna kneel because I'm gonna be your queen. My clap back is you gonna have to give me some reviews and rave and throw roses at me after I take my bow, bitches, okay?
Yeah.
My clap back is, I'm always gonna clap back. So JR said that to me on TV, national TV. I had to clap back. Thank you, Carl. We friends today. JR know I love him. We're all reconciled.
What was the first interaction with JR like years later?
And
did he even remember?
No. However, he had heard about it from interviews I had done. Sure, so yeah. Other people had brung it up to him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the first interaction, we were at CAC, Cauliflower Alley Club. And for those who aren't familiar with CAC, I encourage you to Google it, look it up, cac.org, Cauliflower Alley Club. It's called that because of the cauliflower ear that mixed martial artists get from, all the rubbing and stuff and all the keloids and stuff. I was this close to getting mine, but then I got scared. I was like, I want my ear all like, Now I kind of wish I had went ahead and did it, not put on the protective gear.
Come on.
Because Sarah Del Rey, me and Sarah Del Rey were getting ours at the same time, but Sarah was like, I want mine. I'm getting mine. Sarah, if you ever see Sarah Del Rey, she got hers, honey. But anyway, we saw each other at CAC. We had a very warm, reception. It was kind of like, he was very proud, very happy that I approved him wrong. And not only that, oh Lord, a couple tears again, y'all. You're not gonna give me today feelings. Because this is us till tomorrow. Season finale until tomorrow, y'all. Not only that, he advocated for my signing at WWE.
Oh wow.
Emotions.
Talk about full circle.
And Stone Cold and Mick Foley. Between the three of them, personally contacted Vince McMahon,
because they had seen your work.
It out on Twitter. I mean, like,
wow,
Vince,
because they had seen your work in TNA.
Yes.
Wow.
They had seen my work in TNA, and but not only that, because I got WWE had contacted me once before. about a year and a half before, but there was like some kind of communique, and then I went to TNA, and then so there was no more communique. But what it was, every girl who was sending in tapes of their best matches to WWE, I was on all these tapes. So, I mean, you know, because I never reached out to WWE. I never sent in a tape or anything. I had a plan of what I was going to do before I did that. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be premature. I had a plan, but they called me before the part of me calling them had been implemented in my plan, honey. Because them girls was like, that was a good match. That's the best match I ever had. Let me send that to WWE. So every time WWE put in a tape, they see my ass on there. Hey, Kharma.
Yeah, they're going, who's this girl? We need to know more about her.
Yeah. Right? Is this a rib? Is this woman like paying people to like?
I think that you're like a huge reason that women's wrestling is at the level that it's at right now. Like the knockouts division like completely changed the game. But I think a lot of people will specifically point to the matches that you and Gail Kim had.
Yeah, that was definitely a spark, you know, to this inferno of, you know, women's wrestling now, honey, because they are doing it, you know.
Yeah.
It's just wrestling now. It's not even necessarily women's wrestling. They're just workers out there now, going out there and doing the deal. It's no more pop, you know, because it used to be like the women were popcorn matches. They'd always put us in as second, you know, like the second match, so that people could go to the bathroom or, you know, get their popcorn, hence popcorn match or whatever. And it's been, you know, it's getting much more respect now, and women are demanding more respect now. And outside of Gail and I, our program being successful, I'd like to say, and that being having influence over women's wrestling, I like to say I had a lot of influence on women advocating for themselves. Because, honey, in TNA, I would not keep my mouth shut. Boy, you would think, girl, you just got in here. Who are you to talking to the office like so? But I just couldn't understand some of the things that were going on. I'm like, that's backwards, honey. You can't tell me that when Kong and Gail pop on the screen and y'all telling me that the numbers are spiking high, those are the numbers that are highest all night. You can't tell me that I'm not worth X amount of money on paper.
Right.
You know, for example, you know, they would put you through the gauntlet. You know, they would put you through the maze of asking, of how you were to ask for a raise or to implement change. And one of the times I asked for a raise, I had found out what Kurt had made, and I was like, all I'm asking for is 1/10 of what he's making. Now you look me in my eye and you tell me I'm not worth 1/10 of Kurt Angle. I want you just to tell me that. And if you can't tell me that, then pay me that. You know what I mean? One or the other. You tell me that I'm not worth 1/10 of a Kurt Angle, well then what am I doing here? You know what I mean? I gotta figure out some other stuff. But if you could tell me that, then pay me.
Especially when you're the main attraction. You're the knockouts champion. Like you're one of the top female wrestlers, not only there, but in the world at that time.
One of the top female wrestlers, and coming home to one couch, one fork, one spoon, one plate. I think you know where I'm going with this. Sure. But you know, well, but not that if I had a bunch of money, I'd buy a lot of furniture. I prefer.
You might buy more than one fork, though.
I live kind of like a psychopath anyway. We don't like a lot of busy stuff, crazy people. It's too distracting. But just to illustrate my point,
Sure.
is, when you're on the road in wrestling, when you're in wrestling and on the road, you have to maintain two households.
Yeah.
You're not an employee. They don't pay you as an employee in wrestling. They like to yank you. They like to shake you in wrestling. So you are an independent contractor.
Yeah.
So you have all the responsibilities and expenses is on you. Hotel rooms,
Sure. Yeah. Rental cars.
rental cars, food, all that. That's on you, except for flights, of course. But if it's a certain amount of miles, you may have to drive. And we would do stretches where we would fly one place. By the end of that leg, we've driven over 700 miles. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Yeah.
For 3 hours after a show, you're dead tired and you're driving 150 miles to the next town. Meanwhile, so and so got a big luxury charter bus and they passing you like, you got ice on your shoulder driving like, yeah, okay, see y'all at the hotel. Well, no, I'm at a different hotel because y'all booked at a different hotel because the company paying for y'all because y'all employees and got health insurance. Good for y'all.
So
Yeah,
is
no.
that
So
is that what led to you leaving TNA the first time around?
well, first time around, when was the first? Oh, no, there were a lot of different aspects that snowballed to where I was like, you know and it was mainly the attitude of them thinking I couldn't go anywhere else. I can't remember exactly word for word what was said. You know how you can't remember exactly what was said, but you remember how it made you feel.
Yeah.
But it was along the lines of like, well, if you quit, they're not going to hire you. Don't think you'll be on like Raw on Monday or whatever. They're not interested, and they would say stuff, like that. But that wasn't the point to me because I made big cheddar in Japan. You know what I mean? I made buku bank in Japan. Tokyo's not cheap, and Kia was living large in Japan. So to me, that wasn't really even an issue, but it kind of burned me up. And when I left, I only had $70-something in my bank account, and they owed me money, and they were holding it because of all the controversy, all the stuff that was going on at the time. And they thought, well, if we start her out, she's gonna shut up. And they didn't know me, bitch. I'm from California. I will sell oranges off the freeway on ramp on the 110 on the 405 and make my cheddar. Don't play with me, okay? I'll get together and pluck some hair off some dogs and make me the finest wigs. Don't sell them at the store. Don't play with Mama T. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't think you got me over a barrel over some money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Some of the happiest times, like my mother was in entertainment. And in entertainment, you learn that there are lean days and there are, big money days. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it goes like this. So, growing up, we living large, it was feast or famine with my family. But some of the happiest times were when we were, when it was famine time. It was some of the happiest times when we didn't have nothing. My house burned down twice when I was a kid. We had to start from scratch twice. And when you have nothing and have to huddle in a hotel room for a few months until you build back up and find a new home, sometimes you're closer. You get closer, and then there were some good times, and then the whole I can't remember, it was something Express down there in Wilmington. We stayed until we found us a new house, and the second time we stayed in Torrance until the landlord fixed our house because not all of the house burned down, just my room. Just my room burned down. I told you a hot mess. I wasn't even there. My my room burned down. For those who don't know what we're talking about, before we started recording, Kong couldn't get it together. She had with her tripod, and then we had the light that was too bright in the background, and then her makeup was like this, and then we couldn't
got there. We got there.
We really got there, but it was a hot, round, hot mess. And so there's always something with Kong where it's like, oh, it just can't be easy.
I think with all of that momentum you had in TNA, I don't feel like you ever had the chance to really show what you could do in WWE. Is there like something specific you can point to where things went wrong?
Wait, say that again?
Where do you, like, you didn't really have a chance to show what you could do when you were in WWE? Was there like, could you point to like a moment where things went downhill?
Well, after losing my son, after losing my baby, emotionally and psychologically, I wasn't in the place psychologically and emotionally and physically to deal with the okie doke. Now, when I say the okie doke, anybody who's had a WWE contract knows what the okie doke is. And that's the politics and the mind games and, the expectations and the standard, high standard, which you have to live up to. And I'm not saying the okie doke, all of what's in the okie doke is negative or bad, but it is rigorous, and I wasn't up for the okie doke, I'm not with the BS, you know what I mean? Don't play any games with me, especially when I've gone through what I've gone through. Because right after that, it was the end of like a 3-year run of me just losing people. First, my mother, gone to cancer. Then my grandmother, gone. Then my best friend from elementary school died unexpectedly. And then my manager, God rest his soul, gone. And then now my baby's gone. You know what I mean? That's a lot of death back to back. And in the meantime, I didn't take time off. I was doing me. You know what I mean? I was
can't
working.
Take time off. Yeah.
You can't take time off. When the day we buried my mother, I went from the repast, which is like the reception, straight to the airport to Bound for Glory, so it was like working, and the way they wanted me to come back wasn't going to be healthy for me. My thing was, okay, you can bring me straight back to TV so I can just keep my head down and work,
and also pick up where you left off.
Yeah, just go into autopilot and just work.
Sure.
Or let me go somewhere where I can really process all this. And a lot of people like to paint WWE as villains, and it's not as easy as that. You know what I mean? It's very nuanced. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's very arcane. You know what I mean? You have to be there to understand. Because for the most part, they were extremely supportive. No, I'm gonna say for the most part, they were extremely supportive. They had invested in someone. They were excited about it, and it wasn't turning out the way they want to. And of course, just my luck, Mystico had to go and fall every damn where every week. And I'm like, get it together. Damn it. Triple H just got this job where he's booking people and you fall and I'm getting knocked up. He's not looking good right now. This sucks,
Yeah.
But at the end, they had asked me, okay, what do you want to, what do you need? We'll do anything that you need. What do you need to come back? And I told them what I needed to come back. And it was very, very simple. And common sense tells you to just do that. It wasn't grand. It wasn't like, I need someone to carry me on a chariot everywhere. And
and we're not talking money here.
No, oh no. If anything, I felt really bad that they were still paying me. And we had a few conversations about that. I was like, hey, if you guys want to, like, for right now, because I feel bad that you guys are paying me and I'm sitting here, you know what I mean? Because I have that.
You wanted to feel like you were earning it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we're gonna pay you. You're part of the family. You get healthy, X, Y, Z. Told them what I needed. I told them I needed to go to the facility in Colorado because they wanted me to lose the baby weight. They wanted me to lose the weight and get little tone. And there's a facility where the Biggest Loser people like train and stuff, and it's in Colorado. And I found it, and it was just a coincidence that's where the Biggest Loser people train. It had what I needed. The facility had what I needed to get my physical, mental, and emotional well-being in alignment so I can go back to work quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them that. I even told them, I'll pay for it, but that's where I want to go. You guys asked me, that's what I need to do. Can you help me do that?
Yeah.
And then it was like, we'll call you back. They called me back about, we're gonna send you down. We're gonna send you down to Florida for a while. And I was like, I don't need that. That's what I don't need. That's the opposite of what I need. You know what I mean? I really do not need to be thrown in the mix where everybody's asking me, how's the baby? And, that's a bad idea. And they're like, well, let's try it. And they sent me down there and they booked me in a hotel that was full of roaches and had bed bugs and whatnot. And I was like, you don't want to complain, but you don't want to, if you can't sleep and you're sleeping in a chair like this every night, you don't want to sleep with roaches or in your rental car. There's something wrong. So, I let them know. They changed and sent me to a nicer place, but like it wasn't, it was so not what I needed. It wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work. It was never going to work. You cannot, people think with depression that it's, like a pseudo condition. You know what I mean? Like you could just get up and go and just do it. It's not, a Nike slogan. Depression will knock you on your butt. You literally could not have paid me $1 million to get out of bed on some days. If you came with a suitcase from Deal or No Deal, and instead of a girl in heels came with a fine man with a six-pack and some booty shorts glistening all over his body with the Deal or No Deal suitcase, like, here, here's $1 million, get out of bed today. I would have been like, close it up, take your tight self glistening on out my room, because Kia ain't getting out of bed today.
So how did you deal with the depression?
I waited it out. I treated it like an enemy. I did. I treated it like an enemy.
So, like were you? I'm sure you were getting a little bit better over time. Is that what you mean?
Well, yes and no. But I basically treated it like an enemy, an unwanted visitor. Waited it out, cussed it out sometimes, and just told myself it's temporary. It's going to pass. There's nothing you can really do about it right now.
Yeah.
So let it just wash all over you and hang on. You know what I mean? Just hang on, girl, because, today is not tomorrow, and tomorrow may be the day, where it ain't even, you know what I mean? Tomorrow might be the day where we stroll on out of here, And it's a process. And it's hard, but it's it's like a broken leg. Sometimes could you run a marathon on a broken leg? No, and what sucks about depression is a lot of people who are in charge of your life, you know what I mean? People who are your oh God, your supervisor don't really see it that way,
Yeah.
you know. Or they don't have empathy for it. They're really like they, you know,
That's the
because
biggest thing. Yeah, it's empathy. Yeah.
yeah,
They don't understand.
they don't understand when there's a lot of A-type personalities in entertainment and especially in wrestling. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're a band of overachievers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when you're an overachiever and you have been all your life, you can't understand. You can't understand not being productive. You can't empathize with it. You think it's lazy or you know, like just you know, do your legs work? Can you breathe in and out? Can you see? Can you know are all your functions, you know, your senses functioning?
Yeah.
Well, get up and do it. And it it's not like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
And we've lost people. We've lost a lot of people, you know what I mean? Because a lot of other people don't understand and do not empathize and do not give space, proper support, um, a safe space to listen, and time. You know, because you can call one of your other worker friends overachievers and just want to be heard, just want to vent.
Yeah.
And they all want to fix it. They all got this is well, what you need to do is X, Y, and Z. It's like I'm not calling for that. I just need you to hear and be like, you know, yeah, that's gotta be tough, you know? And just saying, yeah, I hear you, that's gotta be tough, that sucks. Can't help. Well, when you got people giving you unsolicited advice sometimes that can be a detriment to your healing and really even put you down further because you're like, okay, I called just for an ear and you're telling me you know better than me. I'm a grown person. I know what the hell I got to do. I just can't do it right now. You know what I mean?
Did you feel like, I mean, so many people know you from Glow, and I feel like a wrestling locker room is probably so different from the vibe that you have when you're on a set of a TV show like Glow.
Oh, it's so different.
Yeah.
Oh, it's night and day. And I had to remind myself that this is different.
Yeah. I mean, I've only been on a handful of sets, but I feel like everybody there is working together for the greater good of the show, you know, from top to bottom, the actors and directors, but also like the lighting and the makeup and the costumes. Everybody wants the script to look great.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, you always got one person in every place you work at, but yeah, but for the most part, that's true.
It seems
That's
like it's a lot harder to go into business for yourself on a TV set.
yeah, you would think, but I mean, I've been in entertainment all my life. You know what I mean? I've been around it all my life,
Yeah.
and they don't use the word, you know, diva for nothing. Not that Glow had. I'm not saying Glow had any diva. I'm just talking about the entertainment industry in general. You know, the
Sure.
cliches of "I'm going to my trailer." You know what I mean? Uh, you know, again, Hollywood actors, A-type personalities,
Yeah.
kind of narcissistic vein.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about Hollywood and you
Yeah.
know
The stereotypes.
entertainment. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want nobody writing some drama.
Yeah. These are just the general stereotypes that
Yeah,
people
these
think
are
of.
the general stereotypes of Hollywood. You know, people. You know, the general stereotype is that actors are very vain, narcissistic, and megalomaniacs.
Yeah.
You know, who, you know, will storm in on a director and be like, you know, you cut my lines or, you know, X, Y, and Z. And so I think every project um, has some of those moments, you know what I
Sure.
mean?
So
But I
with,
also believe that every project is like a family, and
yeah.
families fight, squabble, disagree,
Yeah.
and all of that stuff.
Yeah. With all of that said about wrestling, how much thought went into the idea that you were going to retire?
Uh, it was an off and on continuous running thought in my mind.
For how long?
Always running.
Yeah.
Of like kind of like, I don't know if you're familiar with double dutch.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like jumping rope. Yeah.
Jumping rope, and in double dutch, you gotta get your rhythm and know when to jump in. And for me, retiring, I was like, I gotta know what moment, feels right for me to just be at peace with not continuing anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's this thing in wrestling where a lot of retirements don't stick for very long. And I'm not saying that about you at all, but there's a lot of, like, I think it can draw you back in, right? Because there's that excitement from the
always.
crowd. Yeah.
But so I'll put it this way. Awesome Kong retired.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Let that be the headline.
How long were you thinking about retiring for? Because it was what, about a little over a year ago that you officially retired, right?
Yeah. I think in the middle of one of the seasons of Glow, like towards the end of season 2 or something like that. And then I went ahead and went to AEW. And
I was there. I was there, Double or Nothing. Your music hit. It was one of the biggest pops of the night.
Right, that was so funny, crazy. That was so insane, especially the night before when I was like, are they gonna remember me?
There were 3 surprises that night. You were one of them. Bret Hart coming out was one of them. And then, of course, Jon Moxley at the end.
Craziness. AEW, they love to give it to y'all. They constantly in there, and they brewing up. What can we do to pop them again?
Yeah.
They love it. I love how much they love to love the fans. It always makes you feel good,
Yeah.
It's something that's been just brewing for a few years now, more than a few years.
So you're saying if AEW didn't come along, you might have retired earlier?
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Oh, yep. Yep. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I think a lot of, I mean, I'm sure you've heard it, but a lot of fans didn't love the Nightmare Collective. Do you think that, like, did you enjoy it?
Here's the thing. We have a lot of leaders that have an idea or perception of how things, they have a vision.
Yeah.
And everyone only gets a little piece of that vision in to this, into the picture, into the art piece. Sometimes it don't work.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't want to sound like I'm bashing the crew over there at AEW, especially since, we were just up and running. We are all new executives, and we are trying to think outside the box and really give it to y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give you something new, something that hasn't been seen. We haven't seen it all, We haven't seen it all so much that sometimes when we put matches together, we're like, okay, let's pull a WrestleMania 3 and then about, you know what I mean? It's like, you reference big moments in wrestling history as something to put together in your next whatever, because we've seen it all.
Yeah.
So we were trying to give you something you hadn't seen, But I feel, for me, I felt unheard, I wasn't in control. You know what I mean? All I could do is say, hey, I have this idea of X, Y, and Z. And I couldn't get in the room where final decisions were made. And believe me, honey, Kia stalked that room. I would stay there after like the big meetings and like pick up the water bottles and the cups and be like, huh, y'all, huh? What you, yeah, what y'all need? No? Okay, y'all need me to go? Okay, I'm still take these bottles. Okay, okay. I tried to get into that last meeting where decisions were made, but
You, you
I
never had a chance to?
never had a chance to. And
Yeah.
after a while, I'm like, okay, so that's just not gonna happen. So I'm not gonna push it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you obviously see that it's not this is they click, this is who they comfortable making decisions. And that's not a read. I'm not reading on, I'm not, that's not a critique or I'm not downing on them or anything. But that's who's comfortable making decisions. And
Right.
so it's like, what do you do? It's out of my control because honey, if I had control, come on, give me 15 minutes of Kia hour. Give me 15 minutes every show of just this is Kia segment. Kia's 15 minutes of fame.
We need
And
to,
let me
this is
show
what we
you what
need.
I'll do with that 15
If
minutes.
Awesome Kong is retired, we need Kia Stevens. This
Oh,
character's great.
I mean, all that them bitches work it. Go out there and steal me this show from them boys.
By the way,
Catch me them ratings. So I'll kill you and you. Nyla, go steal me this show from them boys.
did Impact not own the name Awesome Kong?
I'm sorry?
Did Impact not own the name Awesome Kong?
Yeah, they did, but they gave it to me.
Oh, wow. Did you have to like buy the rights for it?
No, they just was like, here, we ain't using this no more here.
Wow. That is so rare.
I mean, I earned it.
Well, clearly.
They put me through the rigmarole, the least that they could do.
Yeah.
It was good karma that they went ahead and, did that.
Yeah.
Lori.
So what does life look like now, post AEW and, into your newfound retirement from wrestling?
Well, right now I'm just doing Hollywood things. Like tomorrow, I'm doing a table read for a very well-known movie producer who's getting a new movie up and running, and he needs people to read a script for him for the studio. So I'm going to go in tomorrow and read a few of the parts so he can get his movie made.
Nice. And you're probably still getting those nice checks from Netflix.
My residuals shrunk. Yeah, they come at the end of the year.
It's just once a year. Oh,
they're not humongous.
They shrink every season.
They do shrink a little bit every season, but they come around. They're handy at Christmas time. They're fun.
So you're doing a lot of auditions.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot because remember this is Hollywood. There are not a lot of parts for women who look like me. But for those parts that have been written for women that look like me or open casting, yes. So I would say I am doing a lot of auditions for my category.
Have you ever thought about doing stand-up comedy? You'd be amazing.
That was my original plan. I used to be a camp counselor at Camp Hollywoodland. And you want to guess what my camp name was?
What?
Come on, give like one guess.
Your camp's name?
Yeah, my camp name, because every counselor had to have like a camp name, like a nature name. And when my friend actually, I joked she was interviewing for camp, and she needed a ride. So I drove her up there, and then she was like, why don't you go interview? They're doing just interviews. So I filled it out, and they were like, pick a camp name. And I was like, huh? So I just like, it was like all a joke to me. And I just like wrote something down. It was a joke to me. I didn't care. I wanted to go back home and watch all my children. You know what I mean? It was summertime, and I wanted to go, do that. I just graduated high school. But I got the job, and I loved it. It's one of the best shows I've ever had. And my camp name was Bambi. For four or 5 years, I answered to Bambi. Like, even my family at that time would call me Bambi, and that's all.
Man.
That was my name for like 4 years, Bambi. Yeah.
So Bambi was going to be a stand-up comedian?
Well, Bambi, because of all the little things you do at camp, Bambi was going to go join an improv group, the Groundlings, here in LA. Because
legendary.
Her best friend Cricket, who's still the program director at Camp Hollywoodland, kept saying, you have to go out for the Groundlings. You have to go do comedy. You have to be on SNL. And that is on my bucket list to say, live from New York on Saturday night. So, you never know. I may go out for, go join the Groundlings and do some stuff. So that was the original plan until wrestling came and bit me on the ass.
You 1000% should do it. There's no better city in the world to do comedy than here. Yeah. Laugh Factory and Comedy Store and the Groundlings, like.
Oh, well, I have gone on, and I've gone on the mic on some open mic nights, yes. So I've cracked my cherry as far as, the stage for that. It's just with COVID, it kind of took a
a little hiatus, perhaps,
in the plan as far as stand-up is concerned. But I have my routine. My first routine was talking about my dog, about how, when you're like using the bathroom and your dog just like opens the door on you, and even though you're alone, you're like still embarrassed, and it's like you're vulnerable. And your dog comes in and they like smell what you're cooking and they just leave. And it's like offensive and stuff. They're vulnerable, offended by your dog.
Mm.
Oh, guess what? Now we don't even have any toilet paper. And it's a hot mess. Pets can be cruel.
And ironically, we're watching them when they're going to the bathroom all the time.
Oh, all the time. We work for them. I work for my dog. I'm just employee.
Same. My dog is right next to me here. I'm with you.
What kind of dog do you have?
Do you want to meet Luna?
Yeah.
Okay. Luna's a Chiweenie. So it's my girlfriend Rachel's dog, but I'm now the dog dad since we moved in together.
So a Chihuahua with not Schnauzer, but
come here, Looney. This is Looney.
My best friend's dog. You look like Elwood.
She's a Chiweenie, so she's a wiener dog and a Chihuahua.
Well, can you text me a picture or email me a picture of her? She looks exactly like my god dog. Yes, I'm a person who has a god dog. She looks exactly like my god dog, Elwood. Exactly. They look like twins. I'm going to send you a picture of Elwood, and you're going to be like, oh my God, they do.
Oh, I got to see it. Luna's very upset because she was sleeping. She's like, why'd you wake me up? What's going on?
Sorry, Luna.
She's a grumpy old lady. She's like 13 years old.
Bless your heart.
She's so sweet. Kia, I've enjoyed this so much. We have run the gamut here of everything during this conversation.
I taught your ear off, huh?
No, this is amazing. People are going to love. I think there's a lot of people who haven't met Kia. They know Awesome Kong. They haven't met Kia.
That is very true. Well, I enjoy this too, because remember, I haven't human, and no, that's not right. I haven't socialized. That's the word. I haven't socialized in a while because of the pandemic. So other than my husband, I haven't, this is fun when you talk to other people. So I get excited. I get with Chris Farley, and she was I get really excited. I'm like, hi, person, hi.
You should do more of this. People need to meet Kia.
Okay, well, I'm gonna invite you. You gotta come out and see it.
Done.
All right.
So I end every conversation with gratitude, because I wake up every day. I say out loud 3 things that I'm grateful for. What are 3 things in your life, Kia, that you're grateful for right now?
Whew. I am grateful for my living. You know, I won't say my lifestyle, but like my lifestyle, I'm grateful that I'm blessed. I feel blessed as far as my needs are being met. I'm grateful that my needs are met.
Love it.
I'm grateful that my loved ones are in a state of health right now, and the one who's not, she's hanging on, and I'm grateful she's still here. And third, I'm grateful for the possibilities. I'm grateful that I'm not settling, that I'm not appeased. What's the word I'm looking for? That I'm not content. I'm grateful that I'm not content.
You're not complacent either.
Yeah, when you have all your needs met,
Yeah,
it's easy to rest on your laurels. So
sure.
I'm happy that I still have that fire to go out there and do more.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and you could rest on your laurels easily. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a legend.
Right, but that wouldn't get me to where I want to be. And not many people know this. Mick Foley knows it, but I want to be able to sponsor an African village, be rich enough to sponsor like an African village. You know how Oprah has to?
Yeah.
Want her African village. I want my African village. I want to be able to go to Africa and be like, it's my village. I pimped out the well, and whatnot. Yes.
I love that. Kia, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Thank you.
You are awesome. We'll do the next one in person.
Okay. Deal.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Bye, guys.